definite.
I had a feeling something was happening, but yeah, I didn't know what was happening.
No, I was shaving. I didn't shave too good.
You were shaving? Yeah.
I missed the spot.
You missed a spot. Yeah, is that your 10 o'clock shadow? Or 11?
Yeah, you know.
I got one of those too, a couple hours later.
So you may be wondering, why this, why today?
Yeah, why
Who
this,
am I
why
working
today?
with?
Why this, why today? Why have you become Afro Thunder overnight?
Well, apparently you've never heard of the great artist Bob Ross.
Bob Ross, of course I have. The painter, yes.
Yes, sir. Here I am.
And is today Bob Ross Day or something like that? Is something I don't know about or what?
Well, we're covering AI and art today.
Oh, okay. All right. We are. Okay. So yeah, you're the AI version of Bob Ross. So if I told AI to draw Bob Ross, this is what it would do. It would come
possibly
Italian Bob Ross.
Bob Rossi.
Roberto Rossi.
Yeah, Roberto Rossi. Sir. So anyway, enough fun for now. I should leave the afro on now. I think that was pretty cool.
The afro on, yeah. Actually, good thing we could do. We dress up in Halloween costumes on the show.
You could do anything you want because nobody watches this.
Nobody's watching except for Malaka, right? Nobody else is watching the stupid thing.
So today we're covering AI and art, sir.
Yeah. Oh, want to get right to business? Okay, sounds
good. I think we could go right to business.
All right, fine. Yeah. Oh, AI and arts. Who wants to talk about it? Me. Okay, let's do
it. AI and arts. My Bob Ross landed flat. It was just like, what the hell is he doing? That was my daughter's Halloween costume, like at college. I saw it lay on the floor. I said, "All right, this is going to work.
This is happening.
This is happening.
Distracted by plants.
I'll do anything to get one person to watch Unwatchable other than Malaka."
It's like, and then Mrs. Jerome asks, "Honey, how was work today?" "Oh, it was pretty good. I had a sales call, marketing projections, reports. I dressed up in my daughter's, Halloween costume for a call. Yeah, it was good. It was a good day. It was good.
I think I should at least wear the afro on the next sales call we're on.
Yeah,
just to make them go, is that real?
Yeah, is that a real one, or they think that's something that people? They think that's somebody from Jersey does. Just dress up in costumes on a random Friday or something like that.
It's Fun Friday.
It's Fun Friday. It's fun every day. It's fun every day.
Create a dad joke with AI and post it.
Yep, that could be
done. That's not fun. That's just that's just what people are doing these days.
It's just people are doing these days. Yeah.
So yeah, we're talking about AI and art, AI and design, really, yep. Right? AI and design, and I thought Bob Ross was the perfect parallel to that because what did Bob Ross do? He took a bunch of, retired folks, I guess, who've never painted in their life. He would bring out like kitchen tools and carpentry tools, and he'd just start smearing paint around, and he would make happy trees and happy clouds and happy mountains, and mediocre paintings. But those people couldn't even do a mediocre painting. They couldn't even shoot for mediocre before Bob Ross.
Did you just insult every single person who watched the Bob Ross show or did the paintings with him?
If I did,
one sentence,
I'll have to wait till I die to hear about it.
Yeah, hey.
That was a long time ago.
Yeah, you can go to a room and just get a whole crowd of booze, no problem.
That was a long time ago, that show. I used to watch it. Did you watch it?
I watched it, but not as much. I used to flip through it.
Did you ever paint along with Bob?
Never.
It's like a cooking show. No one even makes the mediocre painting.
They just like the idea of watching somebody else do it, right? That's the thing.
Well, he was showing it to him and doing it.
He's doing it to him. That's right. Set you up for that one. There you go.
Terrible. Heard that one somewhere before.
Yeah, but so how does where does Robert Ross? I call him Robert Ross because he's
Rob Ross.
Rob Bass. Relationship with Mr. Ross. So where does Bob Ross?
Robert K. Boss.
Yeah.
Ross.
Yeah. Where does BR come into AI painting?
Well, it was like when I showed our designer Malaka, who's also our video editor, when I showed her my design today that I've been designing, it was like I presented a Bob Ross painting to Michelangelo. She's like, I don't know about this. And it didn't really matter what I did. I think she was going to do that. Like, I think it was actually even better than a Bob Ross. But the point was, we're at the point now where even my daughter, who was a fine art minor at college, who just graduated and has gotten commissioned to paint things, and she's a really good artist. I even brought up, I was working with AI today on design. Oh, how dare you? It was like she did not like that dad was using AI for design. It was an assault on on the profession. And I think even that was the reaction I got a little bit from Malak. It's like, oh, you're not going there, are you? And I am. I mean, I am going there because the thing is, if I were to design my own, like she only has so much time. If I were to design my own stuff and or Sim on our team who manages social media were to do on his own, it's going to look way worse, right? It's going to look way worse, and it's not going to be consistent. And I think what we did today is we handed design over to Malaka and said, okay, you go train the AI, you use Claude Design for this, and you come up with a template, you edit it, whatever. But then when we go to make stuff, it will look on brand. And I do think that Claude Design, and maybe we'll get into a little bit of that today, is I think where things are going versus tools like Photoshop, which seems to be just not really talking about much anymore. Figma, even, which I played around with its Make tool, and Claude Designer. So that's it. That's to answer your question in a long way. That was it.
Okay, so let's talk about that philosophically now. Let's say it's 13 minutes ago and AI doesn't exist yet. It's not mainstream. 13 minutes ago. Okay, let's rewind 13 minutes. You've been in the agency world for a long time. You know, I've been doing this for a cup of coffee and a half. You know, like what is the when a designer is asked to see something that somebody else has designed, what is the usual response? Is it usually this is perfect, I think it's just great as it is, or is it how can I improve this as a designer? You know, you're a creative guy. Like, so is it more how can I take this and how can I improve this or put my own, not maybe improve, how can I put my own signature on it?
Well,
Is
I'm a
that
creative guy. You're right. I do creative. I also do some code, right? But I've always been the higher level, guiding the artist, guiding the developer. So I'm not as in the trenches. I'm more like at a like an overview level. So for me to answer that question, when I look at an artist creative, I appreciate everything that goes into it. So it has to be pretty not good for me to go, this isn't right. Like it depends on the level, what it's being used for. Same thing with development. I have a finer appreciation for other designs that might not be mine, right? I don't really have much at stake with any of this. So I do appreciate designs from other designers. One of my favorite places to solicit design help is a place called 99 Designs.
99 Designs?
That you literally get like 100 designs. And I love going through them all, giving edits, giving feedback, seeing what people are doing creatively. I've also had a lot of fun with the AI doing the creative with that too. So for someone who sits in my chair, it's nice to see lots of variety and kind of guide the creative process. More, it's more like a food critic, right? I'll taste this, I'll taste that. Oh, I like this. Is kind of where you go with it, rather than a chef with a food critic, who's like they come in with their thing. If you ever saw that movie with the one where the guy has the food trucks, I can't remember the name of the director, but he gets destroyed by the food critic and he comes back and does all his work with a food truck. Anyway, forget it. We can edit that out. But or we could leave it in because it's uncomfortable, unwatchable, and uncomfortable. This really should be called uncomfortable. That's what
Uncomfortable to watch and uncomfortable to do.
we should
Yeah.
create another podcast called Uncomfortable. That's when we bring guests in. Maybe we should do that.
Spin off.
Maybe we should call it Uncomfortable when we bring the guests in. I think that's what we should do. When Unwatchable has a guest, it's uncomfortable. So anyway, with an artist who is, it's like a food critic, right? They don't want to see someone else's food be better, or someone to say someone else's food is better, or get critique. It's that way, and we have the fortunate luxury of working with artists and developers, neither of which like criticism typically.
True. Or even if you like, say for example, most designers, I'm generalizing, most designers will look at a design and say, if you give it to them looking for their opinion, they'll say, here's my opinion, which usually is good on the creative, but could be enhanced by these sorts of things. That's generally what my experience has been. It's even same thing. If I call myself a writer, if I go to AI and say, okay, write me something that is written in my language, and I have all my sample range, I give it to them, I would still say, yeah, it looks good, but I'm going to change, this.
Absolutely.
I don't see anything wrong with that either. I feel like what we did with Malaka in this case was great. We said, okay, here's a design. What do you think about it? How would you make it better? Make her feel heard. This is now the CEO mind talking. Make her feel heard, comfortable. Get her to put her stamp on top of it, because she is, this is her, this is something she's kind of, she's involved with. Like she's connected to this company brand and whatever, and she should be, she should have like her skin in the game on that. She should be the one because she's going to be doing a lot of stuff with AI, like you said, like setting up the architecting
Yeah.
the brand style, the brand kit, and then having AI kind of implement the thing. So she should definitely have her fingerprints on it.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
And she might not be crazy that our whole brand is revolving around two puppets that, that arrived one day in the mail that are made
Yeah.
out of socks. But it's where it's going. Like we're a puppet centric company, and we either live by the puppet or die by the puppet. We're choosing die by the
We're
puppet.
choosing die by the
A
prophet.
long shot of living by the puppet. We're going wacky, zany, anything but boring, and that's kind of where we're at, because I have the personal belief that when people are shopping for services, look at this stupid shirt I'm wearing. Last week it was a Hawaiian shirt. Yeah, I don't have the other talent to make up for it, right? When someone's looking at like 10 website companies, I'm gonna probably pay attention to the sock puppet one just a little bit more, because I'm bored at
You're gonna
work
have to.
and I want to watch someone else's dumpster fire just ignite. You know what I mean? So it's going to entertain my day. It's going to take me out of the humdrum of work. And typically, if you do a lot of this competitive research, like we've done, looking at different companies that we're competing with, do you want to look like just one of the 10? Even if you do everything technically perfect, the brand's right, the fonts right, all this stuff's good. At the end of the day, they're not going to remember who the heck you were. They're going to be, and they'll say, "Oh, this guy was the best," but they're not going to remember who this guy is. They're not going to get to know the people behind it, and we're trying to get the people behind it out there and whatnot. So anyway, our new brand is loud. It is obnoxious. And that was Malaka's feedback. Is like, this is loud, obnoxious, and you're
Loud and messy.
messy, loud, and messy. Your reply was,
Isn't Computan loud and messy? I mean, aren't we a loud and messy place to work?
"Well, it has been since I've gotten here.
And she said, yes.
Loud and a little bit
Got
messier."
louder and messier and all this stuff. Yeah, I mean, like, it's kind of, yeah, it's who we are, right? I mean, like, and we're trying to shake that stigma of, like, of being, uptight and buttoned up. And I know I have buttons on my shirt and you don't, but, like, it's just, we're trying to get away from all of that, right? Like, it's trying to, like, show that, insanity.
Yes, go lean into it. Use it like the force.
Yes, we have a rally to restore insanity.
Yes, absolutely. Restore the insanity, not stop it.
Yes.
So
yes. Restore insanity. Rally to restore insanity.
Restore the insanity and lean into it. So
restore
yeah, I mean, I think that level of insanity does lead to good creative. Like we all know, Kanye West is insane, and he makes good rap music. You know what I mean? Like there's a lot of people who are totally off their rocker doing things. So I think what the AI is really allowing people to do, and maybe for better or for worse, for someone like me, I do not have the technical Photoshop skills. I don't even have the technical Figma skills. I have been decent as a creative backseat in my work career. I've done it a lot. I at least think I have been. I have clients who come back and like the work, like the finished product of their website. We all remember Briefcase and the big hit it was, of course.
It's a hit. It was like Nirvana's Nevermind of the HubSpot marketplace.
So just never mind that one. Anyway, so the point is, I could be like, I don't need to know Photoshop to start getting involved in the creative process, which could be a good or bad thing. It's like templates.
It's a good thing.
Sometimes they can help. Sometimes you can get a terrible site because you're giving power to the wrong person.
Yeah, 100%.
But for where we sit, we're not a $10 billion company, right? We can't afford David Ogilvy. We have to go with a small team and our own minor little brains in the creative process. So AI now with Fable is getting at the point where it can contribute, and it is actually doing a really good job with copy, humorous copy. We've given it a lot of the transcripts from Zark. We've given it our strategic plan. We've given it the existing website copy. It's got a feel for your sense of humor, sir, and everything you're about. It reflects in the copy. I mean, I was shocked at how well it got the Zark voice in on these mock-ups. So we're able to integrate Zark and Gil, and obviously we're going to edit it. But I think when you work well with AI in that creative process, it still took me 30 hours to do the mock-up in my version of the brand kit. you know, even if I had the technical skills like Malaka to work in Figma, to work in Photoshop, it probably would take it the same amount of time. So what it's enabled me to be a contributor in an area where I would normally have to sit behind
Sit
someone
behind somebody.
for 30 hours and contribute. We would drive each other nuts.
Yeah, and that's the best part about AI, right? Is adapting AI for different things in the creative process because I've given Claude things I wrote in university, things I've written in like high school that I had lying around. I gave it emails I write, the website copy, which is currently on there. I'm guilty of writing that. So, I get all sorts of different things to think about. And I say, okay, now write this thing like me. And it sometimes, what I did, you have to train. Sometimes it writes like me from when I was younger, and then sometimes it writes like me like I do now. But so I have to kind of like, you have to keep training it.
Guide it.
Yeah, but it's just like anything with AI. The data you give it, the more you train that brain, the more
Right.
educated it's going to be, right? So
Mm-hmm.
our job as humans is to keep educating these things with different things.
Right. And the more context you give it. So a lot of people who
Yes.
give up on AI and go, oh, it's not useful. It doesn't do a good job. All of these things I hear a lot of is really not been my experience because you and I, we have flooded AI with context. We have it hooked into all of our emails, all of our transcripts, our strategic plan, our counting, and then refinements of that, where we have AI help us create reports and create context. The AI helps us create context that makes it more efficient for the next AI to pick up and hand off. And a lot of people aren't segmenting it; they're just giving it reams of giving it reams without ever like making these middle points of setting context. I think that's what the Claude design tool does pretty good too as well. It allows you to hook it into GitHub for your creative code base for your CSS files. Massive, massive help. It also allows you to share Figma files with it and anything else. And from there, you can rapidly deploy web pages. You can deploy social media posts, art.
You could design writing inside of Claude, which is incredible.
Absolutely. You could create proposal cover art. You can create PowerPoint presentations that are on brand. So I think by understanding how to collaborate with the AI, knowing where to be human, to be you, and giving it the context of who you are, and then working very collaboratively with it, it can be extremely helpful and a good level up.
So when would you not use AI in the creative process? Like say for example, I think of like music, right? So music is always very formulaic until it isn't, right? Some revolution comes and changes how things are done. We talked about. I said Briefcase was like Nevermind by Nirvana. It's a great album from the early '90s. He's like Kurt Cobain. He was a left-handed guy playing a right-handed guitar. Didn't really know how to play guitar too much, but he understood melody in a pretty unique way, and he changed an entire decade or two of music, right? So but I don't think an AI could do something like that. It could make something like what
No
was
way.
mine. Yeah. So when do you change it in the creative process? When
Right.
is it
Well,
used? When is it not
well,
used?
when AI is going to regress to the mean on some level,
Right.
right? It's
Okay.
going to regress to the mean, and this was my daughter's argument. She goes, "Well, it's taking humanity out of everything. It's taking the flavor out of everything." She goes, "All you're getting is generic," and that's what a model does. It goes to overall patterns. I think what you have to do with the model is guide it to be unique and unique in a certain way, or give it your take and work collaboratively with it. Like I think by working collaboratively and directing it, saying these are some outcomes I see, work towards this outcome. Here's some historic stuff that works. Go with it. Here are some competitors that I think we should be aware of. What can we learn from them? Having it go and be directed. I think when AI is directed and directed very tightly, you're going to get the best outcomes. When AI is completely autonomous, when you mail in your prompt, when you just have it write some big workflow that just spews a bunch of garbage, that's where it's gonna miss out every time. And I think that will be the case at least into the near future. It seems even with the model progression, that regression to the mean seems to keep happening. And what it seems to be doing is getting better at following context and following endpoints and following direction now. So the direction is getting amplified, and what's getting lowered is the ability to have skills. So the more we have a skill to operate Photoshop, or the more we have skill to operate whatever tool AI might be operating, like AI is going to beat us on the robotic, on the things that regress to the mean. But when we're trying to do, like, it doesn't know to animate the site in a certain way. If I said, here, do all this, it's going to give me the first draft of the website with nothing moving, no motion on scroll. I have to tell it, like, these are the motions on scroll I want, you know? So it's the same thing I would be telling Photoshop in a way in that process, but I'm just now directing AI. The way I tell Photoshop is by moving my mouse and directing it, but I'm still directing it,
So directing
right?
the traffic, yeah.
And it will not hit my vision unless I give it my vision. It's not so I think that's where with this new Zarkpocalypse, Zark the Puppets Apocalypse website that we've made with different Zark sections in it and different Zark colors, I really feel like it's giving me the ability to deliver a highly creative product at the end of the day that would never have been possible on my own for sure. And it literally it's turning out like what was in my head is what's coming down the paper, whether anyone likes it or not. That is at least what was in my head, right? So I think it's getting much better at working collaboratively to get whatever we're thinking down on paper, down in action.
So if I ask this question, so something like the Zarkopolypse, right? AI can build that because it's got a trend, it's got a shape to an idea that came from a human, because a human or a half human created Zark.
Yes.
Okay, so it can't come up with the necessarily like the it can come up with some sort of it's better at running with an idea than generating an idea.
Right. And I think whatever you're doing, AI has to be supplemented with a lot of humanity, like a lot of videos, a lot of real testimonials. Like I did a little Pete Caputa quote. I don't know if he's ever given us a quote, but I did one that was funny. He doesn't know about this. But then there's one in the Creative Kit, which I don't think you saw yet, but it was kind of cool. Rather than just having a boring profile picture, it made them comic book tized, which
Okay.
is fun, you know, like, or what do you want to see? The stupid profile picture we all have, like, you know, or do you want to see
Wedding
something
picture.
that makes it's still that person, or do you want the AI enhanced version of someone where it fixes their teeth and takes their scars off their face or their wrinkles out? No, because then you think this is not a real person for those that don't know you.
Yeah,
So there's
this
no
is
point in
my
that. But if you're doing a comic book theme thing, and if I'm featured on there, I want to see, oh, what did they do to my picture? Oh, that's cool. Or how did they
yeah.
put me in a heroic pose? Or what superhero did they make me? What special powers do they think I have? You build that humor in. So yeah, so you're just channeling that creativity, and it would have taken it would you would have to abandon so many ideas that could be coming out. So I think if you are ADHD, easily distracted by plants, have a bunch of ideas coming out of your head, AI is a great place to scoop a lot of that up and turn it to action, where a lot of that stuff would typically get lost. And maybe it should get lost, but you'll be the judge of that.
Yeah, maybe Zark should get lost. Maybe he should get lost. But now he's going to be found everywhere. That's the problem.
Yeah, I have a plan for it. I didn't tell you, but we're going to have a Zark blog.
Oh
Zark's going
wow.
to email people, and he doesn't need permission because he's Zark. Like I stole the Computan list, and you're on it. You know what I mean? Like whatever. It's we're going to have fun. We're going to have fun, and why not? Because people are sitting behind their screens in their house, thinking about what they're making for dinner, thinking about their deadlines. Why not have a stinky sock puppet pop up on your screen and say all the things you're thinking but are afraid to say?
Yeah, all the things that are sad but true,
Right,
funny but true, and sad but true at the same time.
right, yeah. So Zark's going to be a big player, and Zark's great. Zark was a big hit at Inbound, and I think AI, if not for AI, we wouldn't be able to present this angle that is it makes work fun too. I mean that's the whole thing. It's not worth it if you're not having fun doing Zark comics and Zark on the site, and it really I had one of the most enjoyable weeks I've had in a long time doing the creative on this. I really got into it. I was working long days and not wanting the day to stop.
Well, to your point too, like let's talk about Zark. So Zark is not a new idea. Zark is about as old as the pandemic, right? Like I've had Zark, I've had Gil for a while, and Zark. The problem with Zark was I could only do work with Zark because I'm not a great camera person or video thing. I don't know how to use AV equipment very well. So I had the only time I could really film Zark was once a year, maybe twice a year, when I had like a guy I know, like a good buddy of mine, David Frost. You know, he would come out
Oh
and
yeah, Frosty.
yeah, Frosty. We'd come out and we'd film a bunch of Zark stuff, and then we'd always say, like, how can I do this like every single week? I mean, I can't do this all the time. Like we used to love it. I mean, we usually have so much fun doing it, whatever, but couldn't do it all the time. Then I got better with this stuff. We got Riverside, all that kind of. Then I have to get on the ground. I talk as Zark, fine. But now it's like the content's different. Now Zark is on LinkedIn. Zark has got a blog, like you're saying. We can do a lot more stuff because of AI. Zark is now
Absolutely.
a scalable idea. Otherwise, it was just whenever I could find time, and I could never find time.
Ooh, I think that's a great way of putting it. Scalable idea.
Yeah, it's a
Because we
totally
cannot
scalable idea.
find the time to do these creative things that pop into our head. And I'm sure
Yeah,
marketers, business owners, CROs, they're probably all thinking the same thing. All this fun stuff on my list, or what the stuff
yeah,
that's creative that's going to get impact, I can never get around to. I really believe AI. I do believe AI plus Computan plus our guys, our heroes behind the scenes at Computan, the people doing the work, cutting the video, editing it, putting the graphics, selecting what clips are made. Like we do a better job than that than AI. I think when you combine the AI with these doers who go out in action and support you, I know in some of my side projects I've done, I've had Computan do them on the back end. But working with AI and Computan has been like, again, I'm not trying to plug, but I'm just really trying to share my own experience because I think this is the greatest thing in the world that people need to know about is when you combine these things at a good price, you can get amazing outcomes and really enjoy your work, especially as a business owner or a marketing executive who's swamped with their work.
yeah.
Um,
And that's us, right? So Zark, I mean, Zark's voice online is not me, and it's not AI, right? It's Sim. Sim goes in on LinkedIn, and he
right.
writes Zark in capital letters. He's taken the idea from me. I'm sure he uses AI to help him generate some of the content and whatever. Maybe he does, maybe he does. Maybe he's too proud to do it. I don't know, but he could, and then he could, like, kind of write there. A lot of the images that we use about Zark, they're modified using 3D imaging. Malaka does that with AI too, and it's not just like it's not just one person or me physically doing everything. Imagine, look at, I'm a big Spider-Man fan. Imagine if Spider-Man was created now versus in the late '60s. I mean, can you imagine, how much easier it would be to create stories and churn out content if Steve Ditko didn't have to write or draw every single page of Spider-Man all the time? How many more supervillains could he have? How many more stories could he have written? How many more different universes? I mean, it's incredible what you could do now that you couldn't do back then.
Yeah, and I think there is a labor of love. There is something lost. Like when you're saying comics, I'm thinking like, well, do they really want to do that with AI? But what it could do is like fan fiction, right? We know
Yeah,
fan fiction like took over the Star Wars world, for example, and
absolutely.
a
Yeah.
lot of concepts were brought into that have been quite good. So I think on that level, it's amazingly helpful as well.
Yep.
There's one other thing I wanted to say about Zark, but I think I forgot. So I'm going to ask you to carry the torch on that.
Yeah, I mean, like it's just it's very interesting because I know for so long the question I had with our own internal team was, how do we get more of the Zark stuff out there? I mean, I like doing it. I think it's great. We just couldn't get enough of it out because we couldn't produce it enough, right? Because I got work to do. I have emails to write and an inbox to fight with. Couldn't do it. Now Zark is everywhere. I mean, I can't get away from him. It's taking over my life.
Yeah, and something like Zark is really hard to present to people because
Yeah.
if you don't have enough volume of it, if they don't see on the website, like I'm probably going to put Zark in the masthead on the top of the site in the top banner, and he's going to say something right from the get go. So people are like, and it's going to say, CPO, Chief Puppet Officer, right? Like, shadow CEO of all things silly and stupid at Computan, whatever he is, right? We're going to
Yeah.
have that intro. Like, what is this thing that I'm seeing on all these
What is this
pages?
madness?
Right. Yeah. So we're hoping to show people what this looks like very soon. We're going to take our AI concept. Malaka's going to give her edits on it, and then we'll decide which ones we say yes to, which ones no. Right. Like everyone, none of us are safe from it. Right. And
Mhm.
then we'll come together as a group and decide, and then hand it over to Suleiman and that team to make live in HubSpot, which they've already done with a few AI type projects already. And we're really looking forward to it. We'll have stuff to share with everybody, and we're hoping everyone does enjoy the Zarkverse and the Zark universe, and it just becomes a fun way of showing people how we can bring this together. And really, our entire creative kit is based on these puppets and this comic book theme. So I've never really been this excited to build a website in my entire career of building websites, briefcase
Wow.
included, liftoff included, Melodica, from Jurassic Park was the name of one thing too.
Yeah,
And I
classic.
definitely had fun building templates, but this is definitely one of the most fun creative endeavors I can imagine. And I think it is powered by Fable, which is a cool name, right? It is a creative storybook type name, and we're able to kind of let that creativity flow now.
Yeah, and like, with regards to something like that, it's, I mean, for me, like the brand is very, it's very personal, obviously, because it's been around for since my parents started it. So it's like a different change, a different color. We haven't done anything like that in, it's been like a decade, over a decade since we had that kind of a change. So now to go that loud and that less corporate or whatever is, it's kind of a reflection of where we are right now. I mean, like we're, where we're trying to be. So I think it's probably for the best.
Yeah, and last year we said we were trying to humanize the brand, right?
Yeah.
Because
Yep.
we're developers, we're not located in the same town as you. We're normally on
Exactly.
the screen. So we're doing is humanize the brand, show like, yeah, we're a bunch of real people. But now this year we changed it to humorize the
Harmonize,
brand.
humanizes,
It's
harmonizing.
already been pretty funny, but now we're gonna try to really lean into it.
Yeah, and that's kind of like that's kind of like the dark side, the dark side
Dark side.
of it, right? Like, yeah, the humorizing of the brand. Yeah, just kind of like breaking things and having fun
And
with it.
I think because there's so much more AI stuff and AI is only getting better, if you do want to stand out, the more you can reflect who you are and humor, I think that it is a good move strategically for companies to be more risky, to be more like the guy you see at the barbecue on 4th of July, the real person you are, the guy who pretends to play the guitar but and also plays tennis really well, you know, to be that guy at work, in the brand, in your writing, because we are in the AI. It's getting better, but it's still slop, right?
Still
It's an
slop.
equalizer. It is a homogenizer. It is a regression to the mean, and more people are going to lean into it to be. They want to be like everyone else. I think the instinct now is use it to be very different than everybody else, and usually the
That's
best way
the
to do
key.
that is by being yourself, which a lot of people are afraid to do in business.
Yeah, because they feel like it's risky, and it doesn't have to be. Being vanilla in a cookies and cream world is very, very risky because everyone else cookies and cream is far better than vanilla is.
And then you talk about ice cream again.
I'm talking about whatever you want it to be. I mean, but I'm just saying, like, cookies and cream is better than vanilla, right? We just know that.
I've been getting yelled at for eating too much ice cream around here.
I've been getting yelled at for not eating enough.
Oh wow,
We get too much at home, so I gotta finish it. Hey,
man!
ice cream. Yeah, you this ice cream. I gotta hurry up. It's all right. No problem. Say no more.
All right, sir. I think we covered a lot with the creative. I recommend anyone out there, if there is anyone but Malaka watching this, whoever gets to see this,
There isn't.
try the Claude design tool because it's really cool. You can have AI create things and you have the ability to go in there and edit things. And I would say this, maybe we're not done talking. I did want to add one thing about Claude design and Figma. I've used the Figma make tool, I've used Claude design. Claude design seems to be far superior and easier to edit than Figma make. Figma make, when you bring those Figma files into Figma design, you lose a lot
Lose
of
a
what
lot
was
of stuff.
made in the AI make tool. With Claude's designer, you're able to go a little bit further with the design. You're able to use more latest models, which you're not able to use in Figma Make. You're able to use Fable and some of the higher models. And when you're doing the annotation, editing on page, changing things around, the actual direct in-app editing experience is really good. So I would encourage people, whoever's using Figma Make or Figma Design, to come all into Claude because I've used both in this process. And there were some things where it made sense to use Figma and Figma Make, but for the most part, I had more of my luck doing the final editing, especially in Claude Design. So that's where my vote's at. But would be curious to hear anyone else's feedback. Always looking to learn.
So I've got two questions for you. What can you do in Figma Make that you couldn't do in Claude Design, and why couldn't something like Opus be sufficient in the design tasks in Claude?
Well, no, Opus is sufficient for most of the design tasks. But I think when you're doing that initial creative, when you're really going with multi-step iterations and coming up with that brand kit, I think you're going to get a more polished thing using Claude Design, or you could use Claude Cowork too. Claude Cowork does a pretty good job on it too.
Yep.
I would default to Fable. However, I do believe Opus can be something that helps you get everything organized on the front end. It's just smaller tasks.
Small tasks.
They're not as agentic and longer, deeper tasks. So and I would recommend to either use Claude Cowork or the Claude Design tool. Now, the problem I had with Figma was Claude, since Claude's so good at code, right? It is able to take those design files and make them standard HTML, CSS, very easy to share files. When you make stuff in Figma Make, it's all React and it's like a ton of directories, and
Oh yeah.
Figma cannot just output it into a single HTML file to share. So the
That
sharing
makes
and
it
getting
hard.
it to different apps is
Yes.
very hard. The thing I found is Claude Design didn't handle that part of the Figma thing, but what did handle it was Claude Cowork, which is the desktop application of Claude where we're using local files. So
Yep.
I found when I took all those directories that you can download those React directories from Figma. I then have Claude Cowork pick it up. I probably would prefer to use Fable for something like this to compress it and make it an HTML file. Beautiful output. Beautiful
Totally.
output.
Yeah. That is crazy. Totally
It
crazy.
is crazy. And I'm really excited to start using this design kit we have with the tool that our team, Suleiman, and the rest of the guys made with the HubSpot module creator and HubSpot page builders we're working on. We're working on some really cool things for the people in the HubSpot world where they can deploy some of this Claude design directly in HubSpot. I think it's going to be revolutionary. I think we're going to have a lot of interest
Yeah.
in it.
Yeah, we're excited about it. We just got to make sure that everything is kind of like nice and clean and in tip top shape. All the T's are crossed and I's are dotted, or T's dotted and I's crossed, whatever you want to do. If you're in the cursive, I don't know.
Eyes closed.
Eyes closed, eyes crossed, eyes wide open. Creed. But anyway, yeah. So like, yeah, we're working on those things. We'll hopefully have something to show very very soon on that. But yeah,
Yeah, and I'm showing people right now, showing people what we have now. So if they want early access to it, they can come get early access. And we'll start designing these tools around the feedback we get too as well. So
Yep.
anybody out there who might see a clip of this, know that you can reach me on LinkedIn, Joe Triple J Jerome, if you want to see the HubSpot stuff we're building right now and have an active seat at the table.
And if you are watching this, please, do seek, do hang up the phone and call 911 immediately. Call a doctor. If this is a medical emergency, you should not be watching this show this long.
Don't try to defer to ChatGPT to know if you have a problem.
Do not ask
ChatGPT human help.
Yeah, if I'm watching Unwatchable, should I get human help? Don't. They'll give you a fake answer. It won't give you a real one. It's not trained. It'll hallucinate on you. So just try to get some medical attention right away if you've watched this far into it.
All right, sir. Well, you have a great weekend.
You too.
This wraps it up for episode 4.
I've stopped counting after 4 because I feel like it's 4, and I feel like after 4 we had a pattern. I just put the date that we had it on, so that's all we've got. So yeah, we're in good shape. We're off to the races. It's a pattern.
Have a great weekend, sir.
You too.